So obviously, if you're tuning into today's show, you love the Golden State Warriors. And if that's the case, I want you to show us by hitting that thumbs up icon and liking the video, because we, of course, appreciate all of the support. We put a lot of passion, dedication, and time into growing this channel. I started it off with 13,000 subscribers. Now we're closing in on 50,000 subscribers. So I love this show. And I love the Golden State Warriors and talking about them all the time. So if you're with me, then hit that thumbs up icon, like the video. All right, welcome into Golden State Warriors today. I'm Chase Sr. Appreciate all of you for rocking and rolling with us. A little bit of a disappointing loss for the Warriors on Sunday against the Los Angeles Lakers. From a matchup standpoint, some concerns for this team for Golden State going into the playoffs if that were to be a playoff matchup, because the Lakers won pretty easily without the services of LeBron James out with that foot/ankle injury. But I think this Warriors team is going to round into form, especially with Steph Curry getting his feet wet against Los Angeles, and he'll continue to get more and more comfortable and healthier, of course. So, on today's show, going to answer some of your questions. Without further ado, let's kick it off from T. Cruz T15, a loyal subscriber here on the channel. Warriors should have moved on from Iguodala as a player and kept him on the bench for this season as a coach instead. But Andre Iguodala didn't want to be a coach, T. Cruz, so that's the issue there. And I think there is something to be said for Andre Iguodala continuing to come back-to-back years for this Warriors team. They value his basketball expertise. They value him basically being a player that is a coach. But Andre Iguodala has said, look, I have business interests in a lot of different ventures. He hosts a pretty successful podcast with Evan Turner. He's really into tech. It sounds as though he's not going to get into coaching. I would like to see him be a coach because I love his basketball mind and people rave about him in front offices as well as players and coaches in the league right now. But yeah, obviously as a player, he is going to retire soon. Doesn't have a lot of gas left in the tank. Here's FanSided on Andre Iguodala. There was little expectation that Iguodala would play a major impact with the Warriors, but one could have still expected him to be available for more than 3 total games as we enter the last quarter of the season. Golden State, they have signed Lester Quinones to a 10-day contract in their 15th roster spot, though it's likely that one of Anthony Lamb or Ty Jerome will replace him in that spot. However, given the impact they've made to the team this season, you could make the argument both two-way players should be placed on the main roster to be eligible for the postseason. And I think that's where maybe T. Cruz is coming from, right? Ty Jerome and Anthony Lamb have played solid basketball for this team, and they've been solid contributors. Andre Iguodala, on the other hand, has barely been available. So not only is he old, he's at the tail end of his career, as we were talking about, but for Iggy, he's occupying a roster spot right now that could go to somebody else who could better help this basketball team. Angela Del Mundo, when can we see the starting 5 playing together, and can you give some update on Wiggins? Does he have any communication with the team? So we'll see when Andrew Wiggins is able to join the team. Thus, then we'll see the Warriors having that starting 5. Look, a huge step on Sunday getting Steph Curry back. Before he was hurt with his injury, he was playing MVP level basketball. And even before that shoulder injury that he suffered earlier this year, he was lighting the league on fire, man, and was working off that momentum for winning the NBA Finals MVP for the first time in his illustrious Hall of Fame career against the Celtics last year. As for Andrew Wiggins, per the San Francisco Chronicle, he's still out due to a family matter. With Wiggins missing his 6th straight game Thursday night, it's clear that he's dealing with something serious. Prayers, and obviously prayers to him. And we hope that everything is okay with this family. This team simply is not the same squad. Andrew Wiggins is an elite two-way player in this league. He might not be elite offensively, but defensively, he's fantastic. Just look at what he did against Jason Tatum last year in the NBA Finals. Last year, probably the best offensive campaign that he's had in his career. Warriors need to get him back. And then this from Anthony Slater to kind of round out that starting 5 a little bit. Draymond Green was getting his left hand worked on after subbing out in some obvious pain, but Draymond ended up coming back in that game. So really, you get Steph Curry back. Hopefully at some point soon, you get Andrew Wiggins back, and hopefully mentally, he's ready and well-equipped to help this team during this playoff push. Will the Warriors have a healthy roster for the playoffs? Shoot, Gary Payton II coming back too. That'd be nice. Y for yes, N for no. Austin Herzog, do you think the Warriors regret parting ways with James Wiseman based on his performance in Detroit so far? He's playing good basketball with Detroit. I really think that this is a byproduct of James Wiseman simply getting more playing time. He's a little bit more comfortable in his role. We saw with the Santa Cruz Warriors that James Wiseman had this potential. We saw in flashes with the big league Warriors that he had this type of potential. 10 points, 8 boards with the Pistons so far, shooting about 54% from the deck. This is a player that needed playing time. He wasn't getting it with the Warriors, and they basically admitted that they whiffed on that number 2 overall pick. I think time will tell for this one, Austin. St. Patrick's Day is coming up, and if you want to get some Warriors St. Patrick's Day gear, you can do so using that link down below, chatsports.com/WarriorsGreen. A lot of Irish folk out there looking to ring in St. Patty's Day, and if you're a Warriors fan, some of this gear is great. Check it out, chatsports.com/WarriorsGreen. Let's continue to move forward in this mailbag with this one coming in from JC. Nerlens Noel would be a good pickup for that backup center, but considering that Kerr and Myers don't value centers as much, it's a no-go, and they just signed Quinones to a 10-day deal, so maybe they signed Jerome and or Lamb. So for Nerlens Noel, he actually signed a contract with the Brooklyn Nets, and I would have loved for the Warriors to have signed him. I'm with you, JC. Him as a backup center on this team would have been a nice little addition to fortify this roster, and he just gives you really good defense and rim protection, and a guy who can operate out of the two-man game, dash to the basket, and throw down some alley-oops. For Anthony Lamb and Ty Jerome, look, they've played good basketball this year. For Ty Jerome, the Virginia product playing for Tony Bennett, 7 points per game, less than 2 boards, 49.5% from the floor. And then Anthony Lamb, who played at the basketball powerhouse of Vermont, 7 points per game this year, 47.5% from the floor. They've kind of had that glue guy type of ability. And for Lamb, plus 17 in 27 minutes the other night off the bench, but this was his 50th game. He's no longer eligible unless his contract is converted. Steve Kerr said, I'd like Lamb on the roster. He connects a bunch of their lineups, and he does. So, Bob Myers, it's up to you. So pick a player. Ty Jerome, Anthony Lamb. If you had to just pick one to occupy a roster spot here, who would it be? And maybe, honestly, one of them, they'd mean a lot more than Andre Iguodala right now, but you have to pay your dues and pay your respects to Iggy. He's a legendary Warrior. Orlando Moore. I believe Stanley Johnson could be addition to the roster. What do you think? At this point, players who were signed cannot be eligible for the playoffs. So his length, his athleticism, pretty solid, but it's a little bit too late. Dante. Warriors need to sign Nerlens Noel or even Carmelo Anthony. They need a center or a power forward. I think the ship has sailed on Carmelo Anthony. I think that if the Warriors wanted a player to be on their playoff roster, they would have made moves prior to that March 1 deadline. Carmelo Anthony, I really don't understand how he's not playing. Like last year for the Los Angeles Lakers, I did think that he played pretty good basketball. Could he come in off the bench and give you some buckets? No doubt. But again, you're after that deadline at this point. More Dubs coverage all season and off season long. Make sure you subscribe to the channel. Turn on your notifications. Therefore, anytime we push out a video, you will be notified. To all of Dub Nation out there, we appreciate the support. Chua, a 49ers Report legend. I cover the Niners. If you like that team, subscribe to that channel. Should the Warriors give a contract to Bob Myers? Yes. You should give him the bag. This is the best basketball executive in the NBA. And I don't know what Bob Myers' plans would be outside of staying with the Warriors. Like, why would you not want to continue this dynasty here? Continue this dynasty and continue to build. But now it's up to ownership, right? To sign him, I guess, to a deal that he feels as though he is worth. But if Steve Kerr is going to be frustrated by him leaving, and Steph Curry would be heartbroken, that's some of the buzz out there, and he does such a great job of putting these teams together, winning NBA championships, finding grooming players, having a great locker room culture, and pinpointing talent. He's the best basketball executive out there. How do you not just sign him up to a long-term deal? I really don't understand it. Something fishy is going on. Another reminder, subscribe, youtube.com/@WarriorsTV. Hit us up, link up with us, lock us in, and as always, we appreciate you for watching.